and welcome. This is the second part of the Shimano LX M570 shifter rebuild. Today I'm going to do the 9-speed side. So this shifter is pretty much working. I just want to show you how to rebuild this specific one. So let's get started. We're going to begin by removing the cover underneath. So we're going to take off that bolt. So to remove this, I'm using a number 8 wrench, and it's anti-clockwise, unlike the previous shifters that I've done. This is the reason why they have some metal plates that kind of hold it down. So you're going to see that this part here that's tensioned is starting to undo itself. Don't worry about that part yet. We're going to remove the plastic body cover that's also on here. So I'm holding the lever while I'm taking this off to stop anything from jumping. Ah, it's already happened. Move that out of the way. I'm going to put that plate that was on the top and the side. So what just released itself underneath is the return spring. We're going to take off the spring, take off the bushing, take off the next arm. It'll be stuck in that plastic pocket in the interior. Here we've got a clip that we need to remove. Okay, got it off. Take off that plate and the spring. Taking off the second clip that's at the bottom of this. Okay, got it. Put that on the side for now. So underneath here there's a thin washer. Gonna lift that up. Okay, so taking off that plate. So now I'm going to take off these pulls that are on the top and the second one. Okay, so we're lifting up this. We're lifting up the sprocket with the cam, and underneath there's in between here there was a bushing. On top of that bushing there was a very thin spacer, so you can take that off now. And underneath there's of course the return spring. So quite a few bits to put back together. Not as dirty as the last one I had, so this just needs to have a bit of a wipe down, and we're going to add on some grease. It's fairly dry. So I'm going to get onto that, and then we will proceed to the rebuild. I'm going to remove this pull from the lever and add a bit of grease on the pivot. So we're going to remove that clip. Just a smudge of grease on there. And put back the clip. So I've given everything a wipe down. I try and avoid washing this with water or moving this away from the table, as I worry about losing the parts. So I just clean it generally with paper towels. So we're going to now move on to the rebuild. I noticed there was a couple of parts that I had missed when undoing it, such as these very thin washers that are here. So when we're going to rebuild this, I will include that in the procedure. So let's get started on that. Okay, so to begin, we're going to put the bolt back through here, put back the bushing. Then after, we're going to take the cam and we're going to put that tip of that spring into, there's a hole right here. So I'm going to set that on the top. Then we're going to put this cam through the bushing and the bolt and hook the spring onto the part that we need, latch it on. Now we're going to gently turn the cam. It's going to need to go over that folded part on the plate, and then after, while turning, we lift over When you're going to place this down, make sure that the spring is completely flat and not overlapping, as it's obviously going to make a space difference eventually when you're going to push down the plate. Now we're going to put the pulls back on. So the first one on top. Between those there was a tiny little washer. We're going to stick down the top as well, and then we're going to put the last pull. So it appears on my video that was taken off earlier on that the biggest side that's pointing is pointing outwards. So I'll zoom in so that you can see that. Okay, so something I'd missed out when I was removing the parts before were some very thin washers that were before I removed the round cage, circular cage that was on top of this. So the first one is a very thin gold coloured one, and that goes first. After that there are two very thin silver ones, and they go top of each other. And finally there's also a copper coloured one that sits on top of all of that. So we're putting that circular guide plate on the top. There's another washer to place as well, and over here we've got a clip to hold everything down. Just push down against, got it. So for the next part we're going to put this spring back onto that pivoting part there. That's going to go in front of the two pulls underneath. We're then going to put this plate, and so the part that's kind of going, that's at an angle going up is the top part. And to hold that down there's a small circlip. We've reached the stage now and the most difficult part of the whole procedure. Very unenjoyable. I haven't found another way of doing this ideally, so I'm going to show you what to do. Maybe you'll figure out a better way. I'll take this bushing. You'll see that there's one side that's slightly thicker, fatter. That's essentially going here. I'm installing the spring first, and then taking the other side, the lever, you're basically grabbing onto here, pushing the other lever into the bushing, and what we need to do is we need to tension. Now here's the problem, this is in the way, so when you're going to tension you need to get this over there, and that's where it becomes difficult because every time it's going to slip. So now I'm going to try and do it. Overlaps, and we obviously want the spring to be as flat as possible, and not only that, we need to be able to, like I said before, putting this into the right place in there. So the only way I've been able to do it is holding it like this and then aiming in here. Now while you're doing that, you also need to make sure that this pull is going into that place there. It all is pretty hard to do. Okay, looks like I've been able to do that the first time. I'm checking there. Okay, so the spring's overlapping underneath, but maybe I'll be able to fix that. So what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to put this part back on top, and then I'm going to put the bolt in place, and hopefully that all holds everything down just for now. So you need to put this like part that holds the bolt in place. Okay, I've managed to screw it down. I'm gonna need to try and play around with that spring and make sure it's flat, and then I'll be able to really firmly put down this bolt. Let's have it. I'm gonna have a go. So putting back the screws for the cover. Back cover. And moment of truth. And it looks like it's working. So I hope this helped you fix your Shimano LX shifter. Until next time, thank you for listening. Peace out.